Good morning, Brooks. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to the 2025 Cum Laude Induction Ceremony here in the Frank D. Ashburn Chapel. Here in this space on this campus, we remember that at Brooks School we live and learn on land once of the Pennacook people, and we acknowledge their enduring presence. In 1906, Dr. Abram Harris, director of the Tome School in Port Deposit, Maryland, established the Cum Laude Society to honor scholastic achievement in secondary schools. The society is modeled on the Phi Beta Kappa organization at the collegiate level, and to become eligible for membership, a student's academic record must be of the highest quality, and the way they conduct themselves in our community must reflect well upon the school. Each school with a Cum Laude Society chapter has a delegation comprising faculty who themselves have earned membership in the Cum Laude Society or the National Honor Society or Phi Beta Kappa. Brooks is fortunate to have 18 faculty members in our chapter. The chapter meets twice a year to consider eligible students. We may elect no more than 20% of our graduating sixth form class and vote on the final slate of candidates. This ceremony is a demonstration of our enthusiastic commitment to honor scholastic achievement at Brooks School. To our guests, whether you are in this room or viewing from another part of the world, thank you for celebrating with us. To mark the occasion, we will sing two hymns here as a community today. The second hymn later in the program will be the school hymn written by Phillips Brooks in 1897 to music composed by George Peabody. But for our opening hymn, we will sing Fire of Commitment with text by Mary Catherine Moore and music by Jason Shelton. Please rise. Not yet. Just before March break, We heard Mr. Packard share with us some remarks before the presentation of the Prince Charitable Trust Endowed Faculty Chair. That chair represents an important piece of what helped shape the future of schools like Brooks. In 1981, Fred Prince, class of 1965, gave a gift to Brooks School in the form of this endowed chair. Fred Prince supported the school in a variety of ways, including what faculty know as the McVeigh Grant, named in honor of one of Prince's teachers at Brooks, Jack McVeigh, which provides funding each year to support a faculty member in deepening and enriching their teaching. I never met Fred Prince, who passed in 2017, but I know from his actions, from where he directed his resources, that he saw the importance of great teaching. He gave to this school to ensure that you, the Brooks students of Fred Prince's future, would have access to the great teaching he experienced during his time on campus. During that chapel before March break, we heard Mr. Packard say a lot of wonderful things about today's speaker. We applauded him as he took a seat in his newly bestowed chair up here at the front of the room. Today, having graciously accepted the invitation to give the cum laude address during the busiest time of his year, he'll get to do the talking. Christopher Scott Tote Smith, Jr. grew up on a farm in a small town in what he calls the real Maine, later splitting his time between that small town and the decidedly not small metropolitan area of Washington, D.C. He earned a Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Yale University and pursued a career in corporate finance. Having experienced 12 years of that, he made a change and spent time at the Salisbury School in Connecticut as the quintessential triple threat. He earned the Master of Arts in Private School Leadership from Columbia University, and in 2016, he brought his skill, commitment, and particular brand of intensity to Brooks School. We are grateful to have him here, and I am grateful that he has agreed to speak to you today. To give the 2025 cum laude address, please join me in welcoming Tote Smith.
I will first apologize for my voice. I do spend a lot of time yelling through a megaphone in the afternoon, and it's taken its toll. While I have your attention, I'll say what an honor it is to be speaking on this occasion. I was a product of public schools primarily, so I didn't grow up with this public tradition of recognizing academic excellence. Even at Brooks, we have so few opportunities to do this. I've found that we are awesome at supporting and recognizing excellence on the courts and the fields, on the ice and on stage. In fact, we build grandstands for that purpose. But there are no grandstands to support you through an all-nighter on your 10-page history paper, and it isn't our way to publicly embarrass someone for another 100% on a math test. Instead, scholarship plays out in those quiet moments, in the library, notes of congratulations in red ink, and in the privacy of On Brooks. Faculty can't even access all your grades or teacher comments, and it feels that most of our time as faculty is worrying about students of concern. This time of year is different. Graduation is coming. We gather as a faculty to sing your praises as we determine who and how to recognize publicly for their growth and excellence in all of the things that Brooks values. This is one of those occasions, and I hope underclassmen will be inspired by what these 18 individuals have done to earn this special recognition. Though I've been warned that math teachers should stick to their equations and algorithms, I would like to start with a poem. A warning that this is the first time I've recited a poem in front of a large audience since I memorized the general prologue of the Canterbury Tales in high school. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I marked that first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Evidently, Robert Frost took a lot of walks in a lot of woods, and I gather this famous poem was written for his English counterpart, Edward Thomas, who, after they walked together, would often lament to Frost that he did not take a different path instead. So the poem speaks to me on two levels. One is that we are free here in America to choose what paths we want to take in our lives. But we only get to take one path, and whichever path you take, your view down it goes only so far. And you won't know until you get around the bend where it leads. And one choice will inevitably lead to other forks in the road. But when I first heard the poem, perhaps because of this lingering final line, I assumed that Frost encourages us to take the less traveled road. Branch out on your own and don't follow the crowd. He's a little vague about what it means for the road to make a difference. I assume a positive difference. But volumes have been written about this poem, and I won't go any further with my literary analysis. You can ask Sharps to do that. Instead, as tradition would have it, I'm hoping to share, without a sigh, the roads that I've traveled, the forks I chose on that road, and how, for me, they have made the difference. As Curry just said, in 1970, armed with a medical degree, 2 boys under 2, and the idealism of the hippie generation, my father and mother joined the Back to the Land movement, finding a tiny town in rural Maine where they could raise their family on a farm and where my father could build a family practice in town. Clearly, the road less traveled. So to the extent I can remember the first few years of that life, I remember more than anything the feeling I had of individual freedom to manage my own affairs, what clothes to put on in the morning, if any, what and when to eat, where to spend time, when to spend time with books, with the farm animals, playing in the stream, or building forts in the woods. It was an idyllic childhood. And I grew up fast. Having a brother, Shepard, 18 months my senior, was probably a big factor. He would learn something and then quickly teach me so that we could do those things together, riding bikes, reading books, believe it or not, doing math. And for a long time, it was just us. And so I also learned through what we now call natural consequences. Gravity in particular seemed to be a hard-learned concept in my life, and I ended up in the emergency room 5 times before age 5, which, to my parents' embarrassment, triggered an automatic investigation by the Child Protection Services. My parents separated as I was just entering my school-age years, and over the next 12 years, I attended 11 different schools in Maine, Massachusetts, and Northern Virginia, where my mother eventually resettled and still lives on the farm where she grew up. I attended an elementary school so small that grades were commingled, a Montessori school where I could choose my own daily activity, a magnet school, and eventually a large and competitive suburban high school with 2,500 students and 30 students per class. Every year or so until high school, I went back and forth between my parents, with my brother staggered so that sometimes we were together and sometimes we were apart. On paper, as I was writing it, this reads like a childhood that a psychiatrist might cite as the root cause for the impatience I often suffer from and for my comfort with a nomadic lifestyle. On the other hand, the range of communities that I've lived in has also made me comfortable and empathetic in almost any setting, and has given me confidence that I will find my place if given time. I also became comfortable with forks in the road and making decisions. I went off to college as an aeronautical engineer in the making. I was strong in math and the physical sciences, and I had a passion for things that, unlike me, could defy gravity. So I built and flew model airplanes throughout my childhood and rockets, and I had begun getting my pilot's license. And I was the local expert on why and how boomerangs do what they do. So looking back on it now, several decades later, I am now a big believer in what we call the liberal arts tradition in college, mainly because it forces young people to delay the major decisions in their lives. I knew within a month of arriving on campus that I would not be majoring in physics or in engineering, but in economics. All signs pointed me in that direction, from the cohort of students, the faculty and advisors I met, the career paths that opened up, and perhaps more than anything, the surprising realization that athletics would actually play a very large role in my college life. Of all the paths I chose to explore, the decision to be part of a college team probably had the most significant and positive effect on my life, but that is a different talk. On the academic front, economics appealed to me because it gave me a new language and set of tools I could use to explain people's behavior, how organizations make decisions, how government can, should, and perhaps should not play roles in our society. It helped that the first lecture I sat down in, which was probably a group bigger than this, was taught by a young Mr. William Nordhaus, who 30 years later, just recently, was awarded the Nobel Prize. Of the many branches of economics you can pursue in college, I decided to focus on the economics of the developing world. Writing my thesis on the model Taiwan had played in the world, providing both an economic growth and model for equality among its citizens. It was a highly quantitative analysis and gave me a deeper foundation in statistical analysis, even though this was years before the modern spreadsheet was born. That work led me to my first internship in Washington, D.C. at the World Bank, which opened up doors a year later when I went to seek a job in the investment banking industry. However, at the risk of beating a dead horse, it was probably the effect of my 4 years as a college athlete that opened up those doors just as much. My first career taught me that while you will learn a lot in the classroom, it is probably not the content of your coursework that you will be using to do your job well. It is instead those fundamental skills, reading and writing with precision, checking your work for accuracy and contextual meaning, collaborating and developing consensus with people who think differently than you, and frankly, just a willingness and ability to outwork your competition. The first few years at a Wall Street firm tends to focus on this last one. In my first 2 years, I averaged over 100 hours a week. Some thought I was crazy, but I saw it as 5 years of experience built into 2 years, and I honestly never woke up once hating my job. I quickly found myself sucked into a certain lifestyle, living and working abroad, and the gratification of immediate returns from doing a job well. My timing was good, I was promoted quickly, our firm was acquired once and then acquired again, each time prolonging my career. 11 years after I started, I looked back and wondered where the time had gone, remembering that I had never made a plan to do this. I did remember, though, one interview back in college when I was asked by an investment banker, if all jobs paid the same, what would you do? And this is true. I said at the time, without hesitation, that I would be a boarding school teacher. I was probably 21 when I said that, but I didn't get up the nerve to make that decision for another 12 years. This was not a fork in the road. This was leaving one path and finding my way to another, bushwhacking through the woods. A close friend of mine, when I confided in him about my plans to leave the firm to become a teacher, bluntly asked me, "What the heck do you know about teaching?" He was actually blunter than that, but I feel as though I need to respect the space. Initially, I couldn't even convince the school placement agents at Carney Sando to take me on as a prospective teacher. Others were more appreciative, including my wife, Kathy, who was herself a product of a Brooks education. One Mr. John Packard, a young dean of faculty at the time at Brooks, met with me and gave me a map to follow. So as I was winding down this career, I enrolled in courses on the theory and practice of teaching mathematics. I reconnected with my college coach. I called up the director of Kingswood Camp in New Hampshire, where I had worked one summer in college. I met the then director of rowing at Brooks, Sally Morris, who hired me on as the JV girls coach. Carney Sando then reconsidered and took me on as a project, which led me to my first stint at Salisbury School. 13 years later, now 9 years ago, I arrived back at Brooks, and the rest is history. Who I am and what I believe in now as a teacher and coach is certainly built on all of those earlier experiences. 11 years in a client-driven industry allows me to see you all as my responsibility. Someone is sacrificing a lot of hard-earned money to give you an opportunity to live and learn on this extraordinary campus among other extraordinary people. In part, my job is to give you your money's worth. If you work hard, you should expect the same from me. I feel most comfortable in the classroom when somebody asks me why they need to understand, or even better, why they need to be able to do something. It is my hope that you will leave Brooks with a leg up in this competitive world because of the things you've learned how to do in my classroom. My childhood on a farm taught me about natural consequences of my actions. Natural meaning that no adult had to explain to me the results of what I did and didn't do. If you don't feed an animal, it dies. If you don't get seed into the ground at the right time, it won't germinate. If you don't get the hay up before it rains, your hay is going to be worthless. And as for gravity, it is still too embarrassing to tell you how I repeatedly discovered it. So I'd like to think that the Brooks students leaving my classes understand that I am merely a reporter when I put the grades in the books. I am not the audience for your work. Your efforts should benefit you. I do enjoy hours each weekend reading through your journals in my classes, whether or not you enjoy writing them, seeing how you've made connections between topics, sharing your moments of clarity that we call the aha moment. The occasional moments when you fist pump when math space gives you a green light, and when you get back a test, you are starting to look at my red ink as an opportunity to improve. I enjoy each aspect of the job I do, and there are times it doesn't feel like a job at all. I'm sure my teaching improves my coaching, and vice versa, just as it does with you. How many of you build your confidence in one area, finding it seeping over into the other? I think this transfer happens even faster when adults are sharing both of those venues with you and not competing for your time and attention. And though I wish we didn't use the term triple threat as though we are paid to threaten children, I feel well suited to the lifestyle of always being on. I try to make up for it in the summers. So as we enter our 100th birthday, the school's leadership team will be highlighting 3 pillars of a Brooks education. One of them is our culture of exploration. It is clear to me, having worked with several of you, that in addition to your excellence, your justice and honor earning you today's recognition, I think you also embody this spirit of exploration. Your journeys through Brooks have undoubtedly presented numerous forks in your road, and you've chosen your paths well with the support of your families and advice from trusted adults. I do hope you'll take an opportunity to thank them. I also hope that you've chosen some roads where you had no idea where they might lead, and perhaps these paths have or will make all the difference. But I look forward to further discussion in this community about what a culture of exploration means. What does exploration look like in the classroom, on the fields, and in the dorms? What are the conditions we need to provide and protect that will encourage even more exploration? How do we adults find the balance between providing a safe environment, but also encourage you to take risks, going down paths with bent undergrowth? And how do we best highlight and celebrate the artifacts that students hold up as their discoveries? For me, the path of my career in life is no longer just my own, but it is now intertwined with the paths of my family and literally the 1,000 or so students I have taught, the athletes I've coached, and the residents of dormitories as they graduate out into the world beyond Brooks. I think I speak for all faculty in saying this. Your teachers and coaches invest in you, take pride in your growth, and marvel at the meaningful lives you pursue. To U18, I offer particular congratulations on your academic accomplishments, the manner in which they've been earned, and the many paths that lay stretched out before you. We know you will make Brooks proud, and you will not forget how to find us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tote. Tote's taller than I am. Thank you for sharing with us the importance of thinking about quiet moments the importance of trying to defy gravity, the importance of delaying some of those decisions, and the importance of finding your way and being open to what it means to find your way. Teachers are one part of your education. You, students, are the other part. Those of you receiving certificates today brought your own skill, your own commitment, and your own particular brands of intensity to your academic work here at Brooks. And our time together today honors that academic dedication that you have brought to our community. And with that, we have made it to the awarding of certificates. Student inductees, your distinguished record at Brooks School has won for you membership in the Cum Laude Society. The Society is a fellowship of scholars whose purpose is to recognize excellence in academic work. As you pursue your education, we hope that you will accept the honor of membership in this society as a responsibility to contribute to the ongoing search for a greater understanding of humanity. The Greek motto of the society is arete, dike, time, or excellence, justice, honor. Arete includes the concept of excellence in the moral sense and is not limited to the ideal of superiority in scholarship, nor does it involve the endeavor of competing primarily for academic goals. Dike, justice, includes the concept of what is suitable and appropriate as well as just. And time, honor, includes the concept of dignity and truth. In testimony of your admission to the Cum Laude Society by the authority of the society duly granted, we now present to you these certificates of membership. And Mr. Packard will now join me in honoring our students. Inductees, as your name is read, please come forward to accept your certificate and pin from Mr. Packard. To those gathered here in support of these students, please cheer your loudest and direct your positive energies their way as each name is read. Leah Danielle Chen. Aiden Kaya Krot. Lauren Renee Dewberry. Ximing Ivy Gong. Henry Thomas Hebert. Thomas Lacoste. Francesca L. Maitino. Adriana Lynn McClintock. Megan Avery McSwain. Seho Daniel Min. Harrison Stephen O'Connor. In absentia, Charles Joseph Ruminier. William Braden Sanders. Bugyum Veronica Suk. Serena Anna Trozier. Ella Corinne Whalen. Jacob Yutong Zhao. Cheng Zhuang. I present to you the 2025 Cum Laude delegation. Congratulations, new members of the Cum Laude Society. Your dedication to your studies is impressive, and we celebrate all the work you have put in. All please rise in body or spirit to sing the school hymn. I have a few instructions for everyone regarding what comes next, as I do. All cum laude members, their guests, and the faculty are invited to attend a luncheon in their honor immediately following this service. That is in the Keating Room. Everyone else, there is lunch as normal in the Wilder Dining Hall. Please allow the new inductees and their families to process out first, followed by any faculty, and then our students, as usual, from front to back. New members of the society, you will have a photo moment with Ms. O'Neill after this, so don't go too far. With thanks to Mr. Chapman for giving me this text, I share the following blessing as a benediction. May the seeds of knowledge planted here blossom into wisdom and understanding. May our school be a place of growth, friendship, and joy, where we learn to be kind and compassionate to one another. May we all go forth with hope and purpose, ready to make a positive difference in the world. Thank you.